Hi, ladies. So today I'm going to talk to you about how to make PMS your bitch or your guru, depending on how you want to look at it. Okay, so let's be frank. We all dread PMS, whether you're someone who just gets occasionally irritable or if you're someone who suffers from severe pain and nausea and cramps and the whole package. We all have some form of our own luteal hell. And this just happened to be me the last cycle. And I wanted to share with you how I was able to really mine some gems from my own personal hell. So if you're not aware what luteal means, it's the phase before your menstruation. So we have 4 phases in our cycle. The menstruation is the first. Follicular is the second. Now that is when the FSH hormone actually helps the follicles in our ovaries mature. And then after that, we have ovulation, which is when the egg actually is released. And then we have the luteal phase. And the luteal phase is really when your body is prepping for menstruation again. And this is really what I want to talk about today. Now, the beginning half of this phase isn't so bad. It's just really when our estrogen and progesterone when our estrogen and testosterone drop and our progesterone rises, so that we start to get these PMSy signs. So when estrogen drops, a variety of symptoms appear. We get like everything from fatigue to brain fogginess to aches and pains and like a general like flu-like feeling. And that's usually what we focus on, right? So when we're like, oh my God, I'm so PMSy, or I just cried at a tampon commercial or whatever. We just we start to feel out of it, and it just like really spacey, and that's really because progesterone sort of numbs you out. That's part of what its effect is on your body. And listen, don't get me wrong. I get it. It can be incredibly frustrating. But part of the reason it's so frustrating is because we're conditioned to believe that we have to show up as women like the same person every day, no matter where we are in our cycle. And, we're taught this through like just patriarchal systems and corporate jobs where, every day has the same structure over and over again all month. And the truth is, we're just not the same person every day. We have different geniuses each week because our hormones completely change from one week to another. So I'll tell you a little bit about me. Just last month, I had a 37-day cycle, something that hasn't happened to me in years. And, what irony, of course, that I am the woman who helps other women bleed more regularly. And here I was really stuck in my own luteal hell. And I was really in a place where, even though I'm the one who teaches you not to be resentful of your body, but I was like ready to, really just like rip the skin off of my own face because I was so angry. And I just kept asking myself, like, why on earth is my period so late? Like, did I eat more soy than usual? Like, is it an emotional release? Is it just all the traveling I did in the last month? And I was just driving myself crazy thinking about it. And I was also finding myself so angry because I had this plan, and the plan was that I was already going to be menstruating and that my energy was going to be back up by, day 2 or 3 of menstruation. And I had all these calls that I needed to get done and all these things that I needed to do and strategy and whatnot before I went offline for a few weeks. And I just wasn't being able to do it because I had this like super extended luteal phase that just felt like torture. Like it was just going on and on and on and on. Now, after I had my call with my coach, Nisha Moodley, I was reminded that I was really trying to control it, and that the truth is I just couldn't. But what I could do was I could sink into it. And so I did. And what I discovered was pretty amazing. I had always understood it conceptually, but I felt like until I'd really gone through my own extended luteal hell, it didn't make sense to me on a embodied level. So, yes, I was absolutely no good at the tasks on my to-do list. I was emotional and sensitive and like, a big blubbering mess. But I was also connected and intuitive and highly perceptive. So I use that. I use that to create a new dance class format that I had been stuck on for months because I was always trying to create that when I was in my super rational um, phase. And I used that to lead a beautiful sister circle here at my home last week. I used that to delve into an ecstatic dance class that was just like utter bliss. I used that to observe, what was and wasn't working in my life, and then I just sat with it. And so when I did finally bleed, which of course was right after I led the sister circle, because that's what happens when you put a bunch of women in the room, or outside in this beautiful place together, I finally bled. And I felt that I had picked up a few gems during my luteal that I could now take into my next phase. And my next phase is that place where my estrogen starts to rise and I have a lot more focused clarity. I can do things like these videos without, starting to cry midway. And I had energy to take those observations that I had found and I'd really discovered during my luteal and take those breakthroughs and really turn them into a plan. And so the reason I tell you about my period woes is not because I need the whole world on YouTube to know about it, but because I'd like you to know how much wisdom there is in your luteal phase. We're always hating on it, but the truth is there's really so much to reap out of that phase if you just stop and listen. So yeah, it might really suck while you're in it, but the less you resist it, the more you can find amazing little lessons, and the more you start to realize that you're really a genius at this phase. It's just not the type of genius I think that we are used to expecting from ourselves. So stop putting pressure on yourself to be the same person all month long. It's just not how our bodies work, and that really we need to start to learn to interpret that as a beautiful gift, not as a curse. And so I invite you, next time you're stuck in your own luteal hell, to really just take a moment and observe and see what can I pull out of this that that could really be a magnificent little lesson here that I can take into my next month, into my next year, and just remember that your body is full of wisdom, no matter where you're on your cycle, even though it feels awful. So I hope this was helpful in me sharing my experience with you guys. That's the whole reason why I'm doing this. If you have any questions or would like to jam more on this, shoot me an email at thepleasureplate@gmail.com. Always love hearing your stories, love getting a chance to connect with new women that I may have not connected with, and a little shout out to what couldn't have been a more beautifully designed backdrop. Can we just give a little bit of love to Mama Bali here? Just gorgeous jungle behind me. So yeah, till next time, ladies. Okay, lots of love with pleasure. Signing off. Bye.